Welcome, Carm Capriato, the Service Aftermarkets podcast pioneer with the gold standard of aftermarket business podcasts. Join me for Aftermarket Insights as we advance the aftermarket. And as always, know that you'll learn just one thing. Find us on your favorite podcast listening app and remarkableresults.biz or on my YouTube channel. Hey everybody, Carm Capriato, Remarkable Results Radio, and another Town Hall Academy. Look, we're going to do something in this academy that we've never, ever done before. And the only way we could have done this, if it wasn't for my guest, who you'll meet here in a second, who said to me while we were at Vision 2024, Carm, I have an idea for an episode. I think it could be a monumental for the industry, for the aftermarket, for all the CEOs that are out there. Hopefully we've teased you enough. Let me just thank so much to our great partners. Did you know that NAPA Tracks has on-site training plus 6 days a week support? It all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice. Let us prove to you that Tracks is the single best shop management system in the business. Find NAPA Tracks on the web at NAPATRACS.com. You know, AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching will help you shift your gears and redefine success. Imagine your business not just meeting, but exceeding every goal. Talk to my friend Chris at AutoShopCoaching.com. And are you ready to optimize training with today's class? Well, in just 5 minutes daily, boost knowledge, retention, and improve team performance. Start seeing results today. Join your peers at todaysclass.com. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and thanks. Okay, I want to introduce you to Brin Kline. So many know Bryn all over the industry.
Good morning.
Assured Auto Works, Melbourne, Florida. Bryn and I bumped into each other at Vision. I mean, we bump into everybody that I know, all the great people that have been on the show. And he says, hey, I got an idea for a show. I listened, and it was the most interesting concept that I ever came across. And I was wondering why I hadn't thought of it in the past, but it takes an individual like Bryn who says, hey, I want to do this. And what we're going to do is a 360-degree review with Brin's employees. Now, to set the stage, I've already done the review with Brin's employees. There's 4 of them, and we recorded it. Bryn has not seen this video yet. And we're broken up in 7 different segments, and we're going to play them for Bryn, and we're going to ask Bryn to comment as if it was in the real world. You know, leadership in formulating a great culture in a business is really critical. And you have to appreciate and understand what it takes to be close to your people, hold them accountable, but also find out what it is that they would like from the business and the leadership of the company. I just remember reading something from a friend who says, yeah, we sit down with our employees in the beginning of their hire. We say, we're going to do a review once or twice or however many it is. And then 2 years later, there's never been a review. People don't necessarily, they're not qualified. So many people just, they're not qualified to understand and appreciate a review. So I think hopefully setting the stage here, Bryn, by playing what we're playing for people, they may get more confidence and more comfortable in doing a review.
Yeah, maybe. I thought that I was listening to your show. It seems like it's 2 or 3 years ago at least, and there was a shop owner on that had discussed having his reviews, and he would do, you know, a one-on-one, but he'd also include have a group session, and everybody would. And I thought that was really cool, and I've always planned on doing it. It just never have. I thought, well, I've been thinking probably for 2 or 3 years now, like, I think I'd like to do that, but I think I should be the first one to be reviewed if I were to, you know, adopt that policy. And so that has been the plan for years. And I've also, I would say for last year or 2, thinking about approaching you about it. And of course, as you mentioned, we did in Vision 2024. So I'm excited and yet very nervous. I feel a little bit vulnerable, but hopefully I can learn something, and hopefully others watching can appreciate putting themselves in a vulnerable position and learning. Because there's another show, Carm, where there was a shop owner that kind of separated himself from some of the things that he was working on and within. And then I think primarily because he realized that everywhere he went, he was a leader, and that he felt like he was probably putting himself in a position where he could not hear honest feedback about himself and how he handled things. I wish I knew the episode numbers and the names, but I remembered that as well. So hopefully this will be an honest review of me and it's not too painful for me.
No, I think, listen, I loved doing this. Thank you for giving me this chance to be an outsider and ask all kinds of different questions of our group. Without further ado, let's go into segment one. This is a kind of a short one that it does kind of set the tone a little bit. Let's roll the tape. Excited about this. Let me introduce my panel to you. JD Winkler. All of you guys are technicians or mechanical specialists, technology specialists in the business, right? You all work in the bays?
So I am the service advisor.
Okay, JD. Perfect. Glad to hear that. Glad to know that. JD Winkler's with us 7 years in the business, 7 years at Assured, right?
Yes, sir.
Jeremy Good. Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Glad to have you here, sir. Under 1 year working at Assured and just about, 3 years in the industry?
Right. Yep.
And what's your job?
I am the customer service representative.
Perfect. You're the customer service representative. And again, JD, you are the service advisor?
Yes, sir.
Carlos Mercado. Good to have you here, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
7.5 years in the at Assured. And how long in the industry?
Roughly about 25 years.
Matthew Cusick is here. And Matthew, you had some technology problems, so I never found out. How long have you been with Assured?
I believe in September it'll be 4 years.
Great. How long in the industry, sir?
About 18 years.
18 years. And what's your job? What's your role?
I'm an automotive technician.
All right, perfect. And Carlos, I didn't ask you. Oh, lead technician. I love it. Okay. I would love to know about Brin. Does Brin give recognition, Jeremy, when deserved?
I'd say so. He's a very quiet individual, but you can honestly tell. It's almost like that whole dad thing where when you've done something wrong, it's more that you've disappointed him than you've made him mad. But yeah, I think when we do good jobs, I don't think he hesitates to tell us we've done correctly.
Carlos, is it hard to work for an individual who's kind of a quiet person?
Oh, he was at first. Now I'm just used to it. It's fun.
It's fun.
Oh, yeah.
If you do something right, are you getting high fives? And if you do something not so right, is Brin correcting you?
When I do things right, he does give me a high five. He gets all excited when I do things right. He makes sure he lets me know that I did something right. But when I do mess up, he definitely lets me know that I messed up. He brings it to my attention to make sure I correct the problem, not to do it again.
Let's dive in that a little bit. JD, when he corrects you, if you've done something wrong, is it constructive?
I would say for the majority of the part, I can't really think of any situations in which it wasn't. So yeah, I would say yeah.
Wow, that was a beginning and very short introduction. Does Brin like to solve problems for all of you? How about you, Matt? We got to stop that tape. There you go. Okay. Your reaction, Bryn, I saw you smiling a little bit.
The dad thing was just funny. I don't know. I mean, it's just funny hearing this stuff. I think this is going to be a lot of fun, but no, the dad thing was just funny.
I've never really done this with any of my former past jobs or employees. Sat down in a room. I've done SWATs, but I've never sat down and done a personal review of me in an environment like this. I'm not necessarily sure it would go like this. My point is, if you did this on your own, I wonder how they would react. I don't think there's an answer. I don't know if there's an answer to that.
I think doing this on my own would be more diluted. I think they would be more awkward. They'd be more hesitant. I think that in my absence and you kind of asking and digging, I think it's going to make this very interesting. And I think put us in the best position to hear stuff that I can learn from.
Great. Let's run our segment 2. Does Brin like to solve problems for all of you? How about you, Matt?
Yes, he does. He doesn't hesitate to jump in and try to help you out if he's, in the shop to do so.
Would you have wanted to figure it out yourself?
I do, yeah. But it's always nice to have somebody that knows a little bit more than you do to try to guide you in the right direction.
If you guys needed a piece of equipment, is there an opportunity to sit in a meeting or talk or just approach Bryn and says, hey, we need to do this or get this? Jeremy?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Brin constantly is like, what do we need? What can I get? I know it's small things, but just the other week we were running out of snacks and stuff for the customers for the lounge. And I was like, hey, we need this. And he didn't hesitate to go get it. I think it was like the next day or so. Stuff shows up. So, and I've seen him order parts and scan tools and all sorts of stuff all the time. As far as I can tell, yeah, absolutely. He's immediately approachable, and yeah, that'll benefit us. Let's get it.
Okay, Carlos, pretend I'm Bryn, and I ask you in the review, what neat new piece of tooling do we need? What would you say?
That's an interesting one. We have so many things already that it's hard to determine if we need anything new at this time.
You guys got all the widgets there, right?
Yes, we do. But hey, if I have to ask for something, I'd say maybe I don't know, maybe get like a Easter, a BMW scan tool. I mean, I've been seeing them more and more lately, so it'll kind of be nice. So Otis, even though I dislike working on German cars, but the truth of the matter is, it's a learning curve, and I would love to have that equipment so I can learn more about the equipment and make myself more familiar with it when I'm diagnosing a vehicle.
You're saying this now, but you have no problem going up to Bryn. I mean, is he approachable?
Oh, very approachable.
Okay.
He is very approachable.
And you have yet to ask for these two different tools?
I've made hints here and there.
Okay. All right. You've made a hint. And even though Bryn says it's not time yet, would you fight for it?
If we need it badly enough, yes, I will fight for it.
Okay. Got it. Matt, does Bryn encourage innovation?
Yes, he does encourage us to think outside the box and think what else we could do.
Is Bryn's work with, his YouTube channel, Trained by Techs, all just bring all this great innovation, learning curve, knowledge, training to you guys? I mean, you got to pinch yourself to know that he's that connected.
It's definitely cool.
I would definitely say it's easy to forget until you stop and think about how good of a setup we have with how really well connected he is and just knowledgeable in general, but especially just shops in general. I think we're all pretty lucky to work in a shop as advanced as we are and has someone that's so dedicated to continually advancing our abilities as well as the technologies in our diagnostic prowesses and everything.
Carlos, Bryn, a positive person?
Yes, he's a very positive person. He has, not to make this long-winded, but when I started working with him, my drive for the automotive industry wasn't very high, let's say. After working with him, he has motivated me to become better, be a better person, better technician, and he's very motivating. He means a lot to me because he has motivated me a lot to increase my knowledge, improve myself. Not only as a person, but as a technician as well.
Can he, Jeremy, articulate what he wants, the direction of the company?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, all the time he's expressing and keeping us all in the loop, as far as I can tell, what direction we're going in. I mean, we're expanding, and he's been keeping us up to date with all of that, things like that. So yeah, today I had a meeting with another person that we went over numbers and things like that. So absolutely, I think he's very into letting us know what direction we're going and how we're going to get there.
Hey, Matt, can you turn to Bryn for any advice?
I do ask him for advice from time to time.
About work, about personal?
About work, sometimes about personal.
You guys have already made this a very positive review for Bryn. He's going to be thrilled and happy. I could tell that you all love to work there. I love it, Bryn, that I was getting a feel for this whole thing. We were, maybe 10, 15 minutes in. I was trying to give you some constructive stuff, and I couldn't find a whole lot. But what I did find was affirmations for you.
Yeah, this is nice to hear. I could tell you were definitely digging, but it's good to hear. I think as humans, as people, we tend to forget to show appreciation for folks. So it's nice to get the opportunity to hear some of the appreciation from my team, because I certainly do feel like we have a good team, and I'm definitely fortunate to have them. But the positive thing is, Brin positive, I feel like I've got them pretty well tricked on that. I was saying before, I think I had a former employee tell me that he thought that I kind of had the same mindset as somebody that has had like PTSD. He feels like I'm always looking for the worst things and trying to plan for them ahead of time. So it's interesting that he said that, but I guess, like I said, maybe I'm doing a good job of tricking them.
Or maybe that's just what's in your heart and you have not looked in the mirror and seen that yourself.
Maybe.
And I'm no counselor. This is great. The next segment, we're going to ask how well you manage conflict. We'll roll the tape. How does Brin help you guys manage conflict? Let me start with you, Carlos.
He helps quite a bit to manage conflict. I can honestly say at work, when there's a conflict at work, he brings it to my attention when there's a conflict with the vehicles or with a customer or even my own personal conflicts that I have at times. And I can't honestly say that he helps us a lot with that. I mean, I wish I can say something else, but I've had nothing but good things about that. He helps manage it and helps us correct it and how to improve on it.
Matt, how about you with conflict?
Yeah, if I can come to him and address something that I might be having an issue with, he knows exactly how to resolve it the best way possible.
JD?
There's not much in the way of like serious conflict or anything. The majority of the I would say interwork conflicts, if any, would really be just like simple kind of miscommunications or misunderstandings in which he's more than willing and capable to kind of step in and mediate that sort of stuff. And it usually is almost always, really always like a positive outcome. So he has a really good handle on if and when that occurs, making sure that it gets resolved.
A quick question, Jeremy, about conflict. Can Brin recognize that there may be an eruption or something going on, senses it, and then comes to either you or the team and says, hey, let's work this out? Or do you have to bring the conflict issue to him?
He's on top of things. I would honestly say instead of us, he's preventing the fires before he has to fight them. There's been multiple times he's like, hey, if this is going on, I need to know about it. I've yet to truly see what I would consider conflict. I've seen a couple people bump some head, and that's resolved quickly. Even some of the miscommunications, like JD said, miscommunications and things like that, he's quick to jump on them. We're also not afraid to go to him. It's not like I messed up, I'm going to lose my job. I messed up, I'm going to own it, and I'm going to go talk to him about it, and we're going to square it away. Nothing's swept under the rug, nothing's hidden from him because he is in that approachable state.
Does Brin allow you to celebrate your wins? How about you, Carlos?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's definitely allows us to celebrate our win. Especially when we have good weeks, Friday comes, and we're all celebrating at lunchtime, having a good week.
Is it often enough, or is it just maybe once a quarter?
I can't complain. Oh, yeah.
JD, do you guys celebrate wins?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would say more to Carlos's point. Let's say we had a great week or even an okay week, but we had some major wins within that week. It's not uncommon for us to take some time for ourselves and actually go get like really good, awesome lunch from one of the local businesses and have it brought into us. Kind of take the time to maybe shut down for 20, 30, 40 minutes and eat and talk about it and just celebrate it.
Bryn?
I was just making notes, but I really liked that. I like Jeremy and JD's response, especially with the details there, but especially JD's, because as a technician, is my background, I'm really not a numbers guy. So to me, getting a car figured out and fixed and on its way those are wins for me. Obviously, good weeks financially are wins, but I guess there's good and bad of that, but I've got Bill, of course, as a coach to help me with the numbers part. But the good thing is it doesn't allow me to appreciate the small wins, I guess, and so I'm glad that he's recognized that, because that certainly is how I feel. Sometimes I forget that's how I feel until just now he mentioned it. When I do teach, I often mention, I get a former training manager said it was like Jekyll and Hyde, because I'm pretty quiet, kind of shy, but in the classroom, I try to put on a different personality, but it's because I think it's important in this industry for people to have some times to celebrate, because it's definitely a challenging industry. And so I can certainly appreciate that these guys recognize that we do celebrate the wins.
Hey, let's face it, your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. NAPA Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the industry's best, most comprehensive SMS. Now, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you need to run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice, and having local representation is a huge plus. Customizing tracks to your business, whether you're a one-person shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company, a representative consults with you to help optimize your shop's workflow, efficiency, and profitability. Trax always has the flexibility to do business how you need to do it, which means it can also grow as your business grows. And unlike the other guys, we'll be there for you after installation with the best training and support in the business. Yes, a learning management system tailored to each role in your company. Simply put, Trax was designed and built for shop owners just like you. Visit us on the web at NAPA Trax, that's NAPATRACS.com. In the world of auto repair, every shop has its unique rhythm and challenges. At AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching, they understand that one size does not fit all. That's why we offer personalized business coaching, tailoring our advice to meet your shop's specific needs. Transform your operations with strategies and tools to streamline your workflow, reduce waste, and skyrocket productivity. And when it comes to the numbers, we've got you covered. Our financial management guidance helps you master your finances from cash flow to profit margins, ensuring your revenue grows stronger. Every day, AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching, empowering your shop to achieve more. Visit us at autoshopcoaching.com. Transform your team with today's class, where automotive training is easy, quick, and fun. Just 5 minutes a day on our app can eliminate hours of looking up forgotten information later. It's perfect for technicians, advisors, and managers alike. Keep critical knowledge fresh and top of mind, ensuring your team operates at peak efficiency. Today's class is impactful, accessible from anywhere, and a bit of fun too, and we're not talking about after-hours pizza either. For training that gets results, turn to todaysclass.com. This whole wins thing, and to your point, how tough some of the work that we do is. And, at the end of the day, even just if it's a fist bump or a high five for the team, and it doesn't necessarily have to be you, it just needs to be the team to encourage each other. Man, we thought this was going to be here all day. You nailed it in 2 hours. I mean, those are kind of fun things to celebrate.
Absolutely, for sure.
This next segment, Bryn, I'm going to ask about trust. Let's talk about trust. In the value of the culture of the company, is trust right up there? Do you all feel that there is a high degree of trust? Does Brin bring that to the company? Matt, how about you?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like I can trust all of these guys that I work with. Brin too, as well.
What about trust for you, Jeremy?
I think Vision proved it. We all spent, 4 days in a Airbnb together, basically almost 24 hours a day, except for a couple of separations here or there.
And you found out stuff about each other you never knew.
Probably. Probably didn't want to know.
And you all signed a pact when you left to say, doesn't go anywhere else but us.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah, you all went to Vision, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
we did.
Yeah.
Boy, it just as a quick side note, there's more and more of this that is going on in the industry, and I am so excited and I'm so encouraged by it. And we all, as shop owners, need to stop and think, if Brin can do it and all these other shop owners, if Jim Flushman can do it. I probably met 50 shop owners that had their crews there. Maybe not 100% of their crews, but they had crews there, and they were either working half shift or closed. And they basically told their customers, hey, we're not here. We're going to training, going to our annual training conference. And, doctors do it. You just don't know that they do because they book around it. It's just how it works. Brin's big into training. You guys went to Vision together. But, aside from going to a conference like this, tell me about the kind of access that Brin has brought to you as far as, again, access to training. If you're doing videos, if you're going to local conferences. Jeremy?
I had made the offhand remark about Toastmasters and being interested, and he hasn't let it go since. He is very, very open to get us into training. Anything we can think of, things that are going to be beneficial for us and the shop.
Are you in our Toastmasters group?
I have not joined yet. I'm trying to work my schedule around it, but I'm trying.
Well, we have one night a week, a month. We have one daytime and one nighttime.
I'm gonna have to. I've got the information because I picked it up at Vision. So
All
I'm
right.
gonna.
Remarkableresults.biz/Toastmasters. And everything you wanted to know is there. We'll take a guest anytime. Just pop in, hang with us, get a feel for it. I have to tell you, it's going on about a year now, and it has really, really helped me. And I do this for a living. And I think so many people that are incredible speakers or talkers or communicators, Toastmasters has helped them engage brain before mouth. And a lot of times we need that. And I'm not making a commercial for Toastmasters, but I love to share what I've learned. JD, how about you? Access to training.
Like I said, so I've been here for going on 7 years. And I think pretty much from day one, he's been on the forefront, having me go attend training with them, but also at this 2-year mark, go get your certification. If you have any other trainings or certifications you want that are pertinent to the job, let me know, things like that. And I think that it's definitely on the forefront of his mind at all times, is just making sure that we can forever progress every day in terms of training and bettering ourselves.
You know, Bryn, as a trainer in the industry, you exemplify and understand and appreciate what training is all about. So there's a ton of high fives in that segment.
Well, I don't know. To me, life is painful if you don't know how to approach it. So any tools you can have to make things go easier. I say life is painful. I guess that just reflects, sometimes the pain we feel in the base. I don't want to sound too doom and gloom with that statement, but yeah, like right now, Jeremy is our CSR, but I'm hoping that we can build him into a service advisor at some point, hopefully sooner than later. But as JD's talking about training, the guys have more opportunity than JD, or Jeremy and JD obviously benefit from conferences and stuff, but there's a lot less management training that comes regionally. If I can get Jeremy really caught up to speed really quickly so he can handle things better in JD's absence, then I would love to be able to get JD in some more, taking advantage of more training opportunities. So certainly a lot of room. We have a great team, but a lot of room for how to handle certain things. So I look forward to being able to grow in that way. But yeah, I love training. I mean, I'm happy with my career choice now because of the people I've met at training events. So certainly near and dear to me.
Sure is. Now, Matthew and Carlos, do you pick the sessions that they go to, or do they?
So I always pick the sessions, but the moment I register them, they have an email from registration, but I tell them too, like, I've chosen some classes, but I want you to go through and see if there's any changes that you need to make. So I give them the freedom to change whatever they'd like to change. I think most of the time we just kind of agree on what would be good fit for them. But the thing that I think is important, one thing that's frustrated me recently is when we took them to a conference, I heard some dissatisfaction with the class, and I realized after questioning them that they, not just JD and Carlos, but it was actually, I think, Jeremy or JD, I can't recall. I questioned, like, did you go to the registration desk and see if you can get moved somewhere else? And the answer was no. Like, they stayed in the class even though they felt like it wasn't a good fit. So that was a bit frustrating to me, but I'd try my best to make sure that whatever they're going to go participate in, that it would be worthwhile for them and the company.
Great advice. Thanks, Bryn. Segment number 5. Let's talk about stress. Man, I want to ask you a question about stress. We all have it in our life. How does Bryn manage it in the company?
I think he's definitely very aware of stress and things like that. And he's a very proactive person about trying to get us to manage that. I'll call myself out on this. One of the worst people in terms of taking time for myself. I tend to pour myself 110% into my work or anything else that I am working with or working on, whether it's in or outside of my career. And Bryn's not hesitant to tell me, like, hey, you need to take some time, or like, hey, don't forget to, like, don't stay late, or hey, don't do this. Take some time for yourself. Why don't you go do this? If you need time off, schedule some time off. So he's definitely a big proponent on being proactive against building stress.
Matt, has he ever caught you in a stressful moment and either helped talk you off the wall or sent you home and say, hey, go chill?
Not that I can think of. I'm not a really stressful person. I'm
Okay.
kind of really positive most of the time. Can most of the time hear me whistling around the shop or something just because I'm usually in a good mood. I usually tend not to show any kind of stress to anyone, become pretty good at hiding things like that. If I was stressed and he would notice that, he would definitely say something about it.
God, I find that so interesting. I'm good at hiding it. Did you know that about your peer, guys?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we all have ways to cover it. I think Matt's very good at, like, again, he'll just kind of legitimately, like, he's not joking. He will start whistling and just go back to work.
Yeah, yeah. And this is about Bryn, not about Matt. But thank God you brought that up, Matt, because I think people in the industry hearing this, and we're talking about stress management, and you're the guy who says, I can hide it really well. And so if we go back to Bryn, Carlos, can he ferret that out and see, hey, there's a bump in the forest here and Matt's hiding some stress, and maybe if he has some, everyone else has it. And is there a time out that we all need to take the air out of the balloon occasionally?
Oh yeah, I mean, he usually picks up on things pretty well when he sees us under stress. He makes sure he brings it to their attention if they need time off or they need help with something. He's in the forefront to make sure that everybody is doing well. He's always concerned about everybody's well-being, not only physically, but also mentally. He wants to try to maintain the shop environment to be stress-free as much as possible. Granted, there's times where we cannot avoid stress. Everybody in the shop knows that I'm very, I would say, loud when I'm under stress. He doesn't bring it to everybody's attention. He tries to resolve the problem so that way we're not stressed out.
So the only thing I could say, Matt, thank God for you, because Carlos goes off the deep end, right?
Yeah, he definitely wears his stress and his feelings on his sleeve for sure.
Yeah. And we all handle this differently. How about Brin's stress? Does he ever could he be better at managing his own stress?
I would say he can probably use some improvement at times if I have to.
We finally have something that we can improve Brin with. Wow, this is great. Because he's been perfect up to this point. I'm only kidding. I really am. How about my reaction? They were loving on you for this whole thing. We're like 40 some minutes in. We've done some editing. We took some gaps out. And I'm looking for something that Brin wants to learn about himself. We finally.
That's funny. I was thinking this whole time, like, they must be talking about somebody different. No, that's funny. I mean, I feel like, first off, the fact that Matt hides stress, I think his strength for sure is that he's in pretty good spirits all the time. But it's kind of surprising to hear him say that he hides stress. But anyways, with regard to me, that's interesting that they say that, because I feel like I hide it more than anybody else. But that's funny. I wish I had a little more details. Now I'm going to have to ask Carlos. But they're talking so nice about me. But honestly, with Carlos and Matt, usually if I feel like they're struggling with something, I usually just go over there and make fun of them. So I don't know why. Whatever. It's funny.
I think what you're saying is you try to get them off the wall.
I think it probably lighten the mood. I try to, but sometimes I realize that, they don't necessarily immediately recognize it, and they just get mad, especially Carlos, I'd say more than anybody. But he's been around so long and we're so close that it's just real, I guess, is the way I feel. But as the owner too, I have to be careful that in my mind it's real and it doesn't feel the same in theirs, but that I'm not just being a bully. Yeah.
I brought up stress because we deal with it every single minute and every single day of our life. And in order to handle it, it helps you get through the day and try to deal with every interaction with a smile or a positivity that, stress doesn't lend itself into the next interaction. You have to figure out how to get up and over it. And it was interesting to hear the feedback. So I think it's a great question to ask in any kind of review. Let's do our segment 6 about opportunities and encouragement for collaboration, Bryn. opportunities for collaboration. Who learned something today that we can share with the world? We can make our customer experience better. Is Bryn good at that? Because he's kind of a quiet, laid back, quiet, silent type. Does he encourage you guys to just constantly collaborate? Jeremy, how about you?
I mean, he's constantly asking for ideas or input. I think even, when I first started, he was like, here's our policies and procedures, write your own, and then let me see them, things like that. So yeah, absolutely.
That's a hell of an offer to help improve or create the things that we need to do. To policies and procedures are going to win wars in any company if they're good and they're right, and we follow them. Carlos, in the shop, policies, procedures, and collaboration, just getting a great diagnosis done. I just think of triage. Something really tough comes in. Where does it fit in the workflow? How does Brin encourage that collaboration?
Oh, he encouraged collaboration. He likes to, when we have a big problem, a big diagnosis going on, it's being difficult, he likes to sit down and he wants my input and he gives me his input. We work together and coming up with the solution. That's one of the greatest things we have at work is having him around because sometimes he can give us a different perspective of the problem. And working together like that, collaborating, has helped a lot the shop to resolve issues and problems and diagnoses. It works great. Every shop needs to be able to collaborate like we do at work. It's amazing what we can do when we all put our minds together to work on an issue.
Matt, do you share Carlos's feelings?
I do. Sometimes I get into some difficulty and Carlos comes and collaborates with me to figure out what we need to do to make things better.
Wow, a lot of positivity there on that you've created that kind of environment.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering how they would respond. And it seems like it's primarily technical. The Jeremy thing is cool to hear because I am always looking for feedback, and it seems like I get it less than I'd like. I feel like I would like the team overall to think long term. It's so difficult dealing with the stress and the pressures of the day to think in that way. And I think that's why good managers and owners are very important. But I think if you don't have a business partner, and you're in it, you're on your own, you really do long for that foresight and long game kind of mindset. So with Jeremy, I told him as a motivator, like it can be scary to make decisions when you don't really know how everything is done. You're still kind of new. And so as a motivator, just kind of help him to just move on past that fear of the unknown is make mistakes. I said, I'm giving you the opportunity to make mistakes so that you can learn from them. And I also said it really as a solution to a problem that I have is I don't always have time to really see Jeremy's training portion go through the whole motions, I guess, if you will. I spent a couple weeks with him and then I kind of let him go and spend time with JD. So a lot of what he's probably saying too is that JD's been here a long time. He does know, how we like things done, but there's certain things that he does that I think we should be improving upon. So if there's something that you do that, I'm motivating you to make decisions and maybe make bad decisions, but if there's something that you do that JD does not agree with or appreciate, I would ask you to make note of it and bring it to my attention so that you and I can discuss it. So that was really more out of an obstacle of overcoming the fact that I didn't have the time to really do as much on-hand training with him as I'd like.
Very interesting. Very interesting reply. Okay, here's our final segment. It's really heavy.
Okay.
And this is where I ask them, what would Brin suggest they do better? I want to know from each of you, what can Brin do to improve his role as a leader in the company? Carlos, I'll start with you.
I would say to manage stress a little better. That would be my ideal. I mean, sometimes I can see that he gets stressed with everything going on in the shop. It's a lot going on. I can tell that he gets stressed a little bit here and there, and I just wish sometimes I can, just like he helps us manage the stress, I wish we can do the same for him, or he can find a way to manage it better sometimes.
Thank you for that. Thank you for being so honest. Jeremy, how about you?
The only thing I would request is deadlines. He's very apt at giving me projects, which is great, but it's 90% of the time it's, back burner, back burner, back burner. Deadlines, commitments, like this is what I need and this is when I need it by. That would probably be the most positive, beneficial thing that I could ask for.
Got it. Cool. Deadlines. Manage stress, deadlines. Interesting. Matt, how about you? What could Bryn do to be a better leader for you?
Being that he is a silent type, I'm guilty of that as well. A little bit more communication, I believe, would be a little better. Sometimes I will ask him if an example, like if I could take time off on a certain date. He doesn't communicate if he's approved or not.
He assumed you read his mind, right, Dr. Spock?
Yes.
Great. I love that. Thank you guys for being so honest. JD, how about you?
I gotta say that is a difficult one because I don't really have much that I would complain about in terms of what I think he could improve on for me. I think if I had to do anything, and realistically, this is just very arbitrary, but if I had to pick anything for him to improve on, I would definitely agree with what Carlos said. It's just he helps us so much with managing stressful moments, both inside and outside of work. If there was like a way that he would let us know if we could help him do the same or figure out a way to help him do the same for himself.
Okay, I'm going to put you all on the spot right now, okay? Bryn just sat with you and spent a half hour and asked you all these great questions about him. And for you guys, 98% positive things about Bryn. What do you think Bryn would say to you at the end of this review about one thing you could do to improve? JD, how about you? What would Bryn say he'd like to see you do more of or better?
That I would probably say would be to, when I say it, I don't mean like I don't manage my time, but what I mean is he would probably ask that I manage my time better for off work things, basically, instead of pouring myself into work to where I willingly stay late almost many times more often than I'm staying late, that he would ask to improve my want, I guess you could call
Yeah,
it.
your work-life balance, get the hell
Yeah.
out of here thing, right? And then would you say to him, yeah, but we have so much work steeped on us, I can't leave? Is that a possibility?
That might be part of it, but I think part of it, again, if we were to look at it constructively, is I have a tendency to hyper-focus on
Okay.
things and just not break free until I'm done.
What's one thing, Jeremy, that Bryn would say he'd like to see you improve on?
Probably initiative, maybe waiting to be given a task. I should find that task.
Find that task. Wow. Forward thinking. Thank you for being so honest. Carlos, how about you?
I'm sure everybody will agree. Probably communication. That's one of my biggest downfalls sometimes. I thought I said something to somebody and I didn't. I have a real bad tendency of communication. And I know I need to improve on that because I caught myself doing it a few times. Not only they had brought it to my attention, but I caught myself doing it.
Well, that's a very honest answer. Matt, before I get to you, communication, gentlemen, is becoming the hottest training topic in our industry right now. And having that 360 degree of communication from front of shop, back of shop, office ownership, client is like going to be a killer for super successful shops. I mean, trust me, there's a ton of things you got to do right. But communications is starting to cream up to be one of the top 5 things that you got to do right. And there's always ways to improve. I mean, my daughter Tracy and Sarah Fraser are doing seminars on communications. I moderated a panel at Vision on communication. There's classes being written on communication. So I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you mentioned that Bryn could be a better communicator and you recognize your own reasons for it. That could be one of the biggest secrets for Assured Auto Works in the future. So I'll become better communicator. So Matt, what would Bryn say Matt needs to do just slightly better?
I would say probably be a little bit more self-starting, recognizing when there's something else that needs to be done when I've completed other tasks.
So one and done for you. You do one task and you're done with it and you just don't see what's next. And
Right.
do you have a shop manager that puts this in front of you, or are you just is part of the process? You're supposed to know what's next. JD, do you want to comment on that?
Oh, I was raising my hand. It's like usually Matt and I usually talk about organizing what's next or things like that. Although I could probably do better at doing that. But Matt's trying hard with that, though. I will say that
That's
he's
great.
doing a lot better.
I enjoyed this. My first time ever. I've been approached by some other people at Vision to do this after we do yours and they have a chance to see it. And if they want to come on, and this could end up becoming a really cool little mini series. And you guys are helping us launch this. We'll see how well this goes. We'll see how the audience likes this. And JD, Winkler, Jeremy Good, Matt Cusick, Carlos Mercado. Thanks, guys, for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
This is bullcrap, Carm. It was like 90% beat up on Brin Day.
You asked for it, sir. They love you.
Manage stress better. That's interesting. So I'll have to look into that. You know what happens is I talk to Carlos probably more about it than anybody else. And so that's my managing stress, and it's causing him stress. Deadlines is interesting. More communication. Those are interesting. I guess, honestly, what's interesting the most interesting part of it to me is that they were all spot on the things that I look forward to seeing some improvement on their side. That I knew, I guess. What I didn't know is the stuff that I've learned today hearing from them. So very cool stuff. This is kind of the point of it. And I can honestly say I can walk away with some points of interest, areas that I need to investigate to see how it is, get a little more details and see what it is that I can do to improve upon these things.
Well, I promise that I'll send you the transcript of this. So I know you
Okay.
took some notes, but you may want to go back and look at this and share it with you. Obviously, your people need to see this. Your first reaction to all of this stuff was interesting. Yeah, we finally got some juicy stuff at the end. I have a question for you. Were you surprised by any of it at the end?
I'm surprised with the manage stress thing, that they
Really?
feel like I need to manage stress better. That's pretty cool. I was surprised that deadlines, like it's not surprising that I don't give Jeremy deadlines, and it's almost on purpose, I guess, but it's surprising that it's something that he wants. Let's see, communication to JD to see how they can help with stress. That's definitely interesting. I will take him up on that. Which actually might help both of us. So if I can communicate how he can help me do this thing better so I don't have to stress about it.
It sure looks to me and feels to me, Bryn, that you've got a really great team. And they know each other's ups and downs and movements, and you have allowed them to be individuals, but yet to contribute greatly to the team. And I think a team dynamic is to know your strengths, to know your weaknesses, play to your strengths, get support for your weaknesses. And I think it may go to prove to so many people that a review like this, and even if the CEO does it with his own team and tries not to react because it'll take 5 hours. What do you mean by that? You just actually, like this, you just have to take it for face value, get it. And then in your particular case, and I don't know what you're going to do with this information, but to stop, and you took some notes, and to assemble the team, maybe wait for this thing to come out, let them get a chance to rehear it, to see it again. And then as guys go home, watch it on YouTube. Let's get back together. Let's talk tomorrow evening or tomorrow morning. Let's do a huddle in the morning, and let's talk about what we learned from this. Because a lot of times when you sit down and it's your first reaction, Carm's asking us questions and how do we feel? It's almost as a surreal thing going on. Now that you have a chance to hear what you really said, it may have a completely different flavor, completely different perspective. And I think for you too, once you actually see this a second time, Bryn, you may have a different way of working and teaching and communicating and supporting your people, and you.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you say that, because I've been waiting. I don't do reviews often enough. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I'm also guilty of praise. So it's surprising to hear them say that I did well. I guess ultimately that's because maybe I do it out of showing instead of telling. Maybe that's good. But regardless, I've been waiting to do reviews lately until I've had a chance to see this, to see what I could learn from it, but not to be defensive, but to be able to really know where they're coming from, I guess, better with certain things. So I look forward to watching it again. I look forward to them being able to see it And I know that they will. So I guess if you don't mind, I'd like to take the opportunity to give them praise verbally in front of all of you. I certainly do appreciate Matt, JD, Carlos, and Jeremy. You guys, I'm negative. You think I'm positive, but I'm definitely thinking of the worst possible outcome and trying to plan for it. So it's difficult for me to show praise because all I focus on is the things that need attention. Thank you guys for the awesome work that you do and for supporting me and supporting the company and caring about me and caring about the company and caring about doing a great job for our clients and the motoring public in general, and also sharing my passion for the industry. I think those are like prerequisites to work for us. I think you guys would agree. But ultimately, even though I focus on the bad, I think knowing that I am allowed to leave here and go to conferences and train at conferences and just attend conferences and do things outside of the company, I think should show you how much I do trust you with the company and trust you to do the good work that you do. So thank you so very much.
Well said. I have nothing more to add. Thank you so much, Brin Kline, Assured Auto Works, Melbourne, Florida, for this great idea, for being a trooper. Thank you guys again for being with us and being put on the spot like they were. This was a great episode. Thank you.